Congratulations on finishing your course. That was some hard work. Now what do I do with it? Is there anyone that will house my course and help me sell it? What if I can get an entire team to help me sell my course that I worked so hard on? Have I got a discovery for you? The Great Discovery not only has a place for your course, but a network of affiliates that are eager to sell your hard-earned course creation. Want to make a little more money so you can build your course or invest in yourself? Opportunities for all this and more await you at The Great Discovery, or go to tuepodcast.net/discovery for more information. Once again, that's tuepodcast.net/discovery for more information about how to join The Great Discovery now. This is an Undiscovered Legacy production. Hello, Scoob Believers, and welcome to episode number 90. We've made it to 90 of the Undiscovered Entrepreneur Get Across the Start Line, and it's me, Scoob. Coming at you whatever device you happen to be listening on. Okay, as of this recording, and I'm probably doing it right now, so stop watching this and go watch my talk, because I'm doing my talk today. So October 22nd at 4 o'clock, which is probably past by now, I actually did a stage talk on the 4 hurdles of STOP: imposter syndrome and perfectionism, failure, and fear. And I'm really excited to put that out for you. I am going to make that into an episode here on the podcast. So in case you missed it, I am going to be putting that together for you to actually listen to and understand what these things actually mean to me. So I just want to make that quick announcement. Today's entrepreneur is none other than Phillip. Phillip is such an amazing person. I love his personality, and he has a podcast, which always helps. But we actually discover how Phillip transformed from a kid who could barely even order food to a confident public speaker, flipping the script from his introverted past. We learn how this former electrical engineer defied the stereotypes and found his true calling in teaching others the art of effective communication. And we also hear about a simple daily practice that Phillip's client went from socially awkward to networking powerhouse in just 1 month. So ladies and gentlemen, let's take a listen to Phillip. Are you ready to unlock your entrepreneur potential? Are you ready to break free from all the barriers holding you back? Then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Undiscovered Entrepreneur, your first step in getting across the start line. I'm your host and guide, Scoob, and I'm here with one mission: to help you overcome the obstacles standing between you and the start of your adventure. Whether you're dreaming of launching a startup, creating the next big app, or turning your passion into a thriving business, this podcast is your launch pad. Together we'll navigate the challenges, overcome hidden boundaries that stop us from starting, and learn how to overcome them with the help of others, experience them right along with you. So are you ready to take that crucial step to transform from aspiring to inspiring? Then let's get across that start line together, right here, right now, on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. Salutations, Scoob Believers, and we are here again with another amazing entrepreneur. Today we're here with Phillip. Hey, Phillip, how's it going?
Hey, glad to be here.
Right,
It's going well. I know we were talking offline about putting down 2 kids, got them down just a little late, but hey, we're here. We're doing this thing. Excited to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur and getting the kids down while you had a chance.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to dive into today. Yeah, Undiscovered Entrepreneur. Awesome name. I love it.
Yeah, thanks. All right. So there's one kind of semi-serious question I'd like to ask you right up front. Okay, you ready, Phillip?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Are you a Scoob Believer?
I am a Scoob Believer.
All right. Thank you for being a Scoob Believer, Phillip. I super appreciate you. All right. So what I'd like to do here at the very beginning is get a little idea about who you are, what your entrepreneur adventure is, and how you actually got to cross the start line in your entrepreneur adventure.
So my primary entrepreneur endeavor is public speaking coaching. And believe it or not, my background screams, you do not speak in public. And why do I say that? Because when I was a kid, I got overlooked all the time because I would not speak up for anything. I would even go out to eat with my grandma. I remember one birthday, we went out to eat and I ordered like this. I did not move my lips at all and ordered the meal. That's how bad I was at speaking. And then to top that off, I got a degree, a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. Talk about the nerdiest degree that you could get out there, the degree that screams you should be behind a computer and never talk to anybody because you're just gonna talk to computers. And yet I decided to flip that script. But how did I flip that script? Because I was tired of being talked down to. I was tired of being passed over. There were so many things that I missed out in my life that I was tired of missing out on. And so just enough was enough. And that was really the catalyst for me to change the direction and start speaking.
That's amazing. Going from electrical engineer to speaking. I never would have thought there was some kind of crossover happening over there from one thing to another. So it's amazing to me how you would start with one thing that's completely different than what you would normally think of, and then you end up public speaking. And like you said, you flip that script into something completely different. You weren't even speaking very well to begin with, but you became a public speaker. What was the catalyst that actually made you think, hey, that can actually do this?
Yeah, for me, it was really three parts. So I've already mentioned the one about just enough was enough. The second one was I always had this drive to be an entrepreneur, a lot of entrepreneurs in my family, and I wanted to do more than just being that engineer, but I didn't really know what that was. I went to business conferences, learning about business, learning about sales, and just seeing those speakers on stage and the impact they created for me, as well as everybody else in the audience. I thought that was a really cool thing. But what really finally made me decide to actually create a business out of this was actually being at BMW Manufacturing in their HR training department, where I had the opportunity to work on professional development skills and more specifically on presentation skills. And that was where that light bulb went off. BMW, they're kind of a well-known company throughout the world. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. I'm just kidding. But most people have heard of BMW, the automotive company. And pairing the fact that I saw how speaking helped me, it changed my life. I saw these speakers on stage and how they were changing my life and other people's lives. And then BMW seeing this need within their company, 11,000 people at this particular plant, which is basically a small city. I decided that's a business that I could do and I would love to do because of how it transformed my life, just learning how to speak better. And so I wanted to help others people. And it was something that I could create a huge ripple effect because, yeah, I could go and do one-on-one coaching, but if I could teach others how to go and do that speaking and they could go speak on stage and have a transformative message, how much could that impact this world? And so that's really the overall, the catalysts that created this business that I decided to create.
And it's amazing how many lives we can touch all at once, especially with all the technologies we have now. We could have 1,000 people in a room while we're sitting in our living room and we're actually doing the public speaking on that kind of thing. And then you can get out on stage and talk to hundreds of thousands of people. It's the possibilities are so endless now with our capabilities of doing the public speaking and changing those lives. And we're not just changing those lives too, but we're changing the lives of the families of these people that you're talking to, and so on and so on and so on. So it becomes really important to be able to be a public speaker and have a message to be able to change those lives. And it's so funny that you'd mentioned that you got that idea from being in a car manufacturer. A lot of my school believers out there know I'm a 16-year car salesman. And one of the last car dealerships I worked at was for a Volkswagen dealership. Now, the Volkswagen dealership, I always took everything they had, whether it was learning about a new vehicle or whatever it is. But they actually put me in, I haven't talked about this yet, so this is awesome. They put me in something called the VEST training program. It's VEST, Volkswagen Elite Sales Training. And we actually took a week to sit down and actually learn how to talk to people and understand their needs and wants and that kind of thing too. And it's because of that training, I carried it over from car sales to other types of talking too, where I ended up podcasting because I talk a lot. So Do you have a specific speaker or somebody that you listen to over and over again? I have a couple people that I listen to that I learn from, but do you have somebody, a virtual mentor or something like that, that you like to listen to and kind of take hints from?
Yeah, the one that I really enjoy the most is Andy Frisella, and he's very articulate. He's very good at speaking, but also, especially like his podcast, it's not the most polished speaking, but he still speaks his truth. He still speaks what's on his mind, and he's willing to share a message no matter the way people are going to think about it. And so it's something I definitely admire because, like, for me, I'm definitely more that people pleaser kind of person, and he's just, hey, here's what it is. I don't care if you like me or not. I'm trying to help people, and this is the way I help people. And he's just who he is 110%. And so he's a person that I really look to when it comes to speaking. And he's amazing on stage, but even on his podcast, like just very articulate with his thoughts. And he's even willing to admit, like, hey, I messed up here. Or this, he's willing to fumble through those words sometimes as well to really get his point across, and willing to talk about anything and everything. That's something that I really look up to, especially just being willing to talk about things that need to be talked about, because that's something that we need. And I feel like in our society right now is to talk about things. We don't talk about a lot of things like we used to 10, 20, 30 years ago. Now it's all, I don't want to offend anybody. Let me not say too much. Let me not actually say my true feelings. And now we shouldn't just tell people they're ugly or they're stupid or things like that. But we should be able to share our opinion or our thoughts on something, whether it's political or not, and not have to worry about, oh, are we going to offend somebody immediately? And so it's really, I really admire that about him too, not just his speaking prowess, but the fact that he's willing just to have the conversation, willing to say the message, almost die on the sword, so to speak, because that's what he truly believes in and truly believes that other people should hear that thing. And he's willing to step up and say those things that probably a lot of other people are thinking they're just afraid to say.
It's a lot better for us if we can be our authentic selves around the people that are around us. It makes the things better for you because you don't have to hold in a bunch of things and I'm afraid of what they're going to think of me and that kind of thing. And that actually goes into imposter syndrome a lot too. But you're afraid of what other people are going to think of you. And you want to be able to have this constructive criticism. You're not exactly saying they're a bad person, but what about this? Have you thought about this? And that kind of thing too. And that could be a big plus. If you actually sit down and take the time to listen to the people that are actually giving you this constructive criticism and not take it so harshly, but take it as something to learn from. My guys I listen to, there's three of them I always talk about. Brian Tracy was the first guy I listened to. I ran across his book in the library, a virtual library. I was able to listen to it, and I thought it was awesome, so I started looking him up. Zig Ziglar was big for me when I was selling cars. Always listening to the Zig guy, and I was like, whenever I do speaking, I want to be like that guy. 900 years old, he's still going on stage and doing his thing. I love it. And then I talk about this guy all the time, Pat Flynn. Pat Flynn has been the guy as far as podcasting is concerned. How I was listened to and how I kind of run things and take his teachings and make it my own and that kind of thing. So love it. So. Yeah.
Three great guys for sure.
Yeah. Oh man, I listen to them all the time. So as we're going along here, there's a lot of things that kind of hold us back from getting started or getting across the start line is what I call that. And what do you think stops most entrepreneurs from getting across the start line when it comes to any kind of entrepreneur adventure?
To me, it really comes down to, and this was me in a nutshell, being afraid of failing and looking like an idiot. But what I found through this was that most people admire the person that's willing to take a chance. And I go back to my grade school days with this, where I was too afraid to talk to the girls. And I wasn't outgoing because I didn't want to look silly. I didn't want to look like an idiot. And yet the girls would always talk to the guys that were willing to, they didn't really care. They just would be themselves really at the end of the day, but they would say stupid stuff. They would just do the craziest things. And yet the girls were always attracted to those guys. But it's because they were being themselves and they didn't care. There was a confidence behind that they exuded because they didn't really care, that they were just going to be themselves. And so that's really what it is to me, that the people are just afraid of failing and looking like an idiot in front of others. Yet more often than not, people actually admire the fact that you're willing to do something that others wouldn't do, or even themselves. They look at you and say, I wish I could be like that. And public speaking is a great thing for that. Most people admire those speaking on stage. They don't care if they're perfectly polished, unless they're an arrogant person. Then, oh, I look at you, like you act like you're so good, and yet I see all these flaws that you have in your speaking abilities. But if you're just confident and you're a kind person overall, people are going to admire the fact that you're doing that. And it doesn't have to be public speaking. Anything you do, they're going to admire that. And the people that don't, that hate on you, they really don't matter. And a lot of this too with the imposter syndrome, because we're worried about people judging us. One thing that I've been told, and I've done myself, and I'm about to tell you this as well, is that you need to look at that person's life. If they are judging you for the thing you're doing, are they in a place that you want to be? And I'll use money for a good example. If they're telling you, oh, that business endeavor is stupid, why would you do that? Just stick with your daytime job, things like that. But yet they're not a millionaire, then why listen to them? But if they are a millionaire and they're like, hey, that business endeavor, maybe you need to be thinking about it. Maybe it's something that's really super niche, like underwater basket weaving. Maybe it's not something that you should do. Maybe they'll look somewhere else. If they're a millionaire and they've ran a successful business, then okay, you might take that into consideration. But if they've never ran a business, they've never done anything admirable, don't take their opinion. Like, okay, listen to them, be respectful, but you just throw it out, because they're just jealous that you're trying to do something. They're trying to tear you down and bring you back down to their level, because they don't want to see you rise and be better than them. So I think that's another aspect to that imposter syndrome that comes up, because they're afraid of the ridicule that they're going to get from other people. But think about where they're at, and do you want to be where they're at? And if not, then don't listen to it.
That's right. It's just like the analogy that I've heard, the bucket of crabs, where like you have that one crab that's trying to get out, but all the other crabs are grabbing onto him and bringing him back down into the bucket because they don't want him to get out, because nobody else can get out. And when we think about something like that, somebody that's dragging you down, trying to drag you down to their level, but look at where they're at right now. Are they at the level that you want to be at? And most of the time it's no. It's just like having that one guy who says, oh, I'll get you like 4 million followers, and he has 200. It's the same idea, though. But remember, when you're going along here, you're not going to be for everybody, right? When you're going along and people are giving you a bad time, they're talking down to you, those aren't the people that you want to be with. You are not going to be for everybody that's out there. So keep that in mind. So you could take it with a grain of salt, that they're not kind of like giving you the props that you think you deserve, or that kind of thing. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but that's what I'm thinking. And always take that chance. Take that chance. Speak up a little bit and see if you can actually... Oh, I'm sorry, my internet's being weird. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens? My internet's kind of bad, so when I start waving my hands around, it
I
messes
can
things
hear
up.
you.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I'm getting a red line on your internet, actually. Is yours okay?
As far as I do. Let's see.
All right, it's coming back.
All right.
All right, there we go. Okay, we're okay.
So yeah, as far as I do, it was good.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. This thing's been weird. Okay, so take that chance, because if you do take that chance, you're actually raising your percentage of success of whatever it is that you're trying to do, because you actually just took the chance. You're ahead of people that most people don't even take that chance. They won't even talk to that person, even though he has so many subscribers, or he's up on that stage, or whatever it is. He could say yes. He could say no. You're no better off than you are right now. So why not take that chance? And you mentioned failure, and failure is actually one of my, gosh darn it, Okay, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Failure is actually one of my hurdles that we talk about. Do you know the acronym for fail by chance?
The acronym for fail. Yeah. It's, right now.
It's what right now?
I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I know I've heard the acronym, but I cannot think of what it actually stands for.
Oh, it's first attempt in learning.
Mm.
Yeah. And that I've
Yeah. So good there. Yeah.
yeah.
That.
If it's the first time you're trying anything, of course there's going to be a possibility of failure. You've never done it before. So don't be too hard on yourself or give failure a bad rap, because that's how we learn. That's how we learn as entrepreneurs. That's how we learn as humans. We try something, we fail, or we don't fail. And if we do fail, what we learn from that failure, we carry over into whatever else that we could be doing. So always keep that in mind.
Exactly. And the only time you truly fail is when you finally quit, when you give up. So yeah, just don't give up. And something else I was thinking about here when it comes to this imposter syndrome, first starting out, one of the things we think is that our friends, our family are going to buy our product, buy our service. And the thing is, they're really not the ones that will, especially like going to my extreme example from going from engineer to speaking coach. Like it's completely different. So it's hard for people that have known you prior to you doing this business that they can trust you with that product or service. So you're going to find that you're going to get more clients from people that you didn't know, or people from online that are online friends, versus those that you've known prior to starting that business. So keep that in mind as well as you're starting up this business, and those that are hating on you, talking down to you and everything like that as you're going through this journey.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. And it's becoming more and more prevalent to me that my family, my friends, they want to support me, but a lot of times they'll give me the pats on the back and that kind of thing. That's expected. But it doesn't seem like they're more interested in like buying whatever it is that I have to offer or anything like that, or even listening
Yeah.
to my podcast. But once I get out of that comfort zone and just hoping to get good praise from my family, it just seems like it's gotten better and better to talk to people on the outside of my family to see what their actual feedback is. Because you're not going to get the feedback that you need from family and friends. They're going to pat you in the back. Oh, it's a great job. And that's not what I want to hear. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some kind of criticism so I could change things and make things better. Not just the pat on the back and good job, son.
Yeah, exactly. And something else I thought of with this, because that was one of the things for me too. I wanted to have people like recognize me for it, especially family and friends. But also with that, I was looking for that end goal when it came to the business. And of course, let's go back to money. Like, hey, let's make our first $100,000 in business. That's a great endeavor. But if you're every day, hey, I hope I get to $100,000. I hope it gets to $100,000. Well, you're most likely not going to be there for a day, for a week, for a month. It may be a couple years. But if that's all you're focused on, you're constantly feeling like a failure. So rather than focusing on that end goal per se, yes, you should have that vision. You should look towards that end goal, or towards a goal in particular. But the more you can start to focus and enjoy the journey, taking those daily action steps that you need to take to build towards having $100,000 business, towards having $1 million business, towards doing this thing, the more you're going to start enjoying it, and you're going to feel more successful and feel like you're actually making progress. So that'd be another thing that I'd say for those starting out in entrepreneurship. Focus on enjoying the process rather than the outcome.
Part of the fun is the journey, right? Part of the fun is actually doing the thing.
Yes.
The money's great.
Yeah.
It's money. It's great to get money. It's great to have that end thing, but getting there has got to be part of the fun. It's got to be in your zone of genius. Otherwise, why are you even doing it?
Exactly. But especially starting out, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get here. but you'll find out, and hopefully you'll just take this now instead of trying to find out later and realizing you're miserable because you're not getting to where you're trying to go just yet. That, yeah, enjoy that journey, enjoy that process, because that's where you're going to be a majority of the time. And guess what? Like most entrepreneurs, most people that are goal driven, they get to the goal and all of a sudden it's the next goal. Oh, I made $100,000. Okay, I want to make 250,000 now. Like it immediately. And sometimes you don't even get there. You're at $80,000. Oh, you know what? I'm almost at 100. Let me move it out to 250. And you keep doing this where you keep moving that goal out and you never actually achieve it. And how miserable is that if you never technically achieve a goal because you keep moving it out and out and out? So you've got to enjoy that journey, that process of building something.
Yeah, and don't forget to celebrate the little celebrations on the way too, because that's really what makes it worth it too.
Yes.
So I'd like to know here, as you're going along, some of your pitfalls and problems you had getting started. Do you have any of those that kind of stick out in your mind?
Not focusing on connecting and providing value to others. I at first I focused on, okay, how can I make this work for me? Who's that person that I can essentially sell? Like I wouldn't go in and try and just sell them, but there was a lot of kind of that commission breath behind all of these conversations or attempted conversations. And then really knowing the value of my product as well. I would say those are probably the two big things. So just connecting people to make a genuine connection versus trying to connect with the right person because they would be a great fit for my business. And then knowing the value of my product, especially starting out, it's hard to know your value. And pricing things is the hardest. And I'm not going to go into that, but just whatever you're charging, or even without charging, knowing that what you're doing is really going to help somebody, really going to change their life, or it's going to benefit them in some way, shape, or form, and truly believing in that. I think a good example of this is when you see that really rich, fat, ugly guy with the super attractive fitness model or something like that. And yes, the money is a big help there, but they also have that confidence. There's that confidence underlying in them that is then attractive for that female. And that's the same thing when it comes to us with our business. If we have confidence in our product, in our service, in ourselves, and we're talking with somebody that's a potential client, they're going to be attracted to us and our product or our service because of that confidence. So really having that confidence in yourself and in your product or service is something you really have to have when you're starting out, but forever, but especially when you're starting out to really start to see that success.
It's really important for us to serve others first, right? With our product that we have, so we know that it's a good product. We know who's going to need that product and it's going to help them. And once we help them, then in turn they will help us in one way, shape, or form. It doesn't always have to be monetary, but in some way that they'll help us, right?
Yeah.
And confidence is a big part in what we do. How could we work on our own confidence?
Getting some kind of results. So whether you have to do a couple, like give some free products away, or give a free coaching sessions, whatever your service is there, giving some of it away for free, getting testimonials, getting reviews, that will really help build up that confidence. One, because now you've seen people get results from what it is that you do or you provide. But then also because you have those reviews and testimonials, now new people coming in can see that other people have gotten results from it. They've liked the product. They've enjoyed the service. So I say start for free. You aren't making money before you started the business. So what's it going to hurt to not make money? Or at least with the product, maybe you're selling it at cost if it is an expensive product. Depends on what it is, but try and find ways to be able to sample out your service, sample out your product and stuff like that is what I would start to suggest to really build up that confidence. Is as you start to see people getting the results from that, people talking about it, it's going to give you that confidence, but also just taking action. At the end of the day, going back to what we talked about, enjoying that journey, taking action, moving one step forward. Hey, how many calls did you book today? Am I booking calls? Am I trying to reach out to people? Did I make social media posts? Did I do these things? Just focusing on making sure you're doing those daily actionable steps is something that's going to help continue to build that confidence as well. And focusing on that journey, not that end goal. Yes, that's something that you need to keep in mind. But again, going back to $100,000 business, oh, I didn't make $100,000. Oh, I didn't make $100,000. Every day you're telling yourself that, you're never going to have confidence because you're not there. But if you focus on, okay, today I did the 5 sales calls like I wanted to, I made the social media post, I did this thing. When you continue to do that, you look back over months and years, and you've continued to do the things that you were supposed to do, it's only a matter of time until the results that you were looking for actually happen. But now you have the confidence because you know you're doing those things that you are supposed to be doing.
Fantastic. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of school believers out there who will listen to that and take that to heart. So thank you very much for that fantastic answer to the question. All right.
Of course.
So, yeah. All right. So on the other side of that thing, accomplishments. Did you have any accomplishments or stories like of an accomplishment that you're really proud of?
Probably the coolest one for me was really seeing a friend transform with his speaking. He went from being this guy, that really nice guy, uh, not the most outgoing, but he was a little socially awkward. And after we did a 30-day live challenge of just speaking live on Facebook for 1 minute, he went from not being that talkative and a little awkward and not confident on camera, not super confident unless he was knew the people in person, to being confident on camera and confident in person. And I had people talk about how he transformed, like his lives went from barely making it to a minute to he was doing like 5 to 10 minutes for a live video by the end. And the networking groups that we're part of and everything, he would just be talking to people, and he looked so much more comfortable, so much more relaxed in his conversations and everything. So that was probably really the coolest one for me, because there was like no monetary exchange there, but just seeing how that transformation happened in 30 days. But even more specifically, like I think it was like day 6 or day 7, he went from like the countdown 3, 2, 1 on the live, like, crap, what am I going to talk about? Oh, I'm so worried about this, to like, all right, here we go. Let's do this. Like, just another day. And just in 1 week, he started to have more of that confidence in himself just speaking. But over 30 days, it was really cool to see the huge transformation that he saw in himself, but other people were seeing too.
And that stems off to a lot of other things too, not just how well we do on Facebook Lives or anything, but in the rest of our lives too. I've
Yeah.
even just doing this podcast for the last 3 years, I've noticed that my communication skills with other people has been just amazing. I never thought I would be able to do that before then. I had terrible communication skills. It was terrible. So
Yeah, and I think podcasts are probably one of the most powerful ways to build up those communication skills. Of course, having in-person conversations, not just trying to speak on a stage or a live where it's only you talking out and no response back, but doing something like a podcast or just having conversations with strangers, being able to have something back and forth is a great way for you to build up your speaking repertoire, because now you're learning to articulate a message to somebody and you're getting an immediate response of if they understood it or not. But now you're learning how to actually navigate a conversation too. So I think it's twofold there, because you're learning to articulate that message in a way that that person will be able to understand, but you're also learning how to converse, because especially like in a sales conversation, and most everyday talk is a conversation. It's not you teaching on something. So to me, having conversations in person or podcasts are really the most powerful ways for you to learn how to be a better speaker and communicator.
all right. And then I'm glad I became a podcaster. That's for darn sure.
There you go.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. So obviously we're talking to brand new entrepreneurs that are just getting started their entrepreneur adventure. So if you were in front of somebody that you knew that was just getting started in an entrepreneur adventure, what kind of advice would you give them? What's your best piece of advice, you think?
Yeah. Connect with everybody that you can. I have had connections happen or things happen in my life because of a connection that I made that I didn't know where it was going to go, what would happen with it, but I kept that connection and I didn't burn bridges with that. So I had one guy that I knew, and then I was looking for a job and reached out to him. He wasn't at the time. I've gotten to like him a lot more over the years, but at the time, I'm like, I don't really like this guy too much. But rather than burning that bridge, I decided to keep things civil. And when I needed a job, I was able to reach out to him, and he was able to supply me a job. Working inside of BMW manufacturing, there was two positions that I got simply because I went and talked to the hiring manager for those positions. They didn't even have a position available, but I said, "Hey, I would be interested in this." They said, "Awesome." I guess they were looking, but they didn't have anything posted. But I had the conversation with them, and all of a sudden they post the job posting, and I get the job because I connected with them. And one last example of this, I connected with a Clemson University student. Just connected with him because hey, I'm always looking for speaking engagements. I want to be able to speak to universities, and he was in the engineering department. And yeah, I was like, hey, I don't know what'll happen from this, but hey, let's connect. We had a good conversation. We got talking about internships that he was working on. I gave him some great advice. He ended up coming back to me about a month later and was like, hey, we've got this thing coming up. We would love to have you come in and be a speaker. And all because of that connection. I wasn't like, I'm telling them like, hey, I want to speak. Tell me when the next speaking opportunity is, or anything like that. But just because of having that conversation and connecting with people and saying kind of like, hey, here's what I got going on and these things like that, just making them aware, but not trying to sell them necessarily, allowed for these opportunities to happen. So that's my biggest piece of advice. Connect with anybody that you can, and until you get to a point where you're so busy, then maybe you start limiting about who you connect with per se, but just connect with as many people as you can, because you never know what they do, what they know, how they can help you, or who they know that can help you or work with you.
Fantastic advice. Yeah, that's definitely something that I've been trying to get out there too, especially now my evening job, because we talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm actually a server in a restaurant. So I'm always talking to people and telling them what I do and how and that kind of thing too. So yeah, you never know. Just like you said, you never know. You can get a great advice from somebody. You can get advice from the guy that takes the trash around that day. Who knows? Because he might know somebody where he's at that can help you. That, oh yeah, I talked to this guy. He would love that, or whatever it could be. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Really, you're just one connection away from changing your life, changing your business. So continue to connect with people.
All right. All right, Phillip. So we're getting close to the end here. What I like to do with all my guests is get a 6-month goal for you and your company. So tell me where you'd like to see yourself and your company in the next 6 months.
So actually, I haven't been talking about this business, but the business that I have the goal for right now. So as far as the speaking coaching, the speaking business, I definitely want to do at least 2 events of my own, but my virtual agency, virtual assistant agency business, I want to get 25 clients within the next 6 months. So getting 25 people in, helping them be able to delegate tasks out to virtual assistants. So 2 different endeavors there, but those are the things that I want to do. Have 2 of my own events where I'm helping people learn how to leverage virtual assistants, but then also getting 25 clients that are able to start leveraging those virtual assistants to be able to grow their business more.
So let's help you out here. Give me a little bit of info. This is usually where I say, this is your time to shine. I want you to advertise for yourself, but I want you to be able to basically say how, if we want some virtual assistant help, how do we get a hold of you for that and other things too. So ready, set, go.
All right. So you can reach out to me on social media, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm all over the place. You can ask me any questions about virtual assistants. I'm finishing out the website right now, so I'm not sure when this will air, but we're recording here at the end of September. But you can go to Refined VA, so VA for virtual assistants.com, and that's where a lot of the information will be about what virtual assistants are, how they work, and everything. But in a nutshell, they can help you with anything, but we're focused on social media, email, calendar management, podcast editing, bookkeepers, and LinkedIn outreach. So a lot of lead generation type topics to help you grow that business and do the things that you don't necessarily like doing, and you can let somebody else do that work for you.
All right. And if we want to get a hold of you for speaking,
you can go to speakingsessions.com, or again, you can reach out on any of the social media platforms.
All right. All right, Phillip, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be on the Undiscovered Entrepreneur. I really appreciate you very, very much. That was some fantastic information.
Yeah, hey, I'm here. Scoob for life.
Scuba Lever, here he is. Yes.
Scuba Lever, that's right. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
Fantastic. All right, Scuba Leavers, thank you for another great evening, and make sure you stay tuned for the wrap-up. All right, everybody, thank you. Bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Phillip. What a great conversation we had with Phillip. Such an inspiration. What a great personality, too. I'm really glad I came across Phillip, but we actually had a couple takeaways in this. So let me just kind of share this with you, that your past does not define your future. Just like Phillip transformed from a silent kid who couldn't talk to girls or anything like that to a public speaking coach, you too can overcome the fears and the limitations to become the person that you inspire to be. Success is built on daily actions, not distant goals. Focus on taking consistent steps forward each day. Celebrate the small victories, and remember that every interaction is an opportunity to grow and connect with people. You never know which conversation might change your life. And hopefully something we talked about today possibly changes your life too. Let's see what happens next. Let me know if anything in this podcast ever inspires you. Look down in the show notes to find my link tree. Communicate with me and let me know what you think and what you've done to inspire yourself to greatness. All right, everybody. Thank you so much and have a great evening. Bye-bye. And there you have it, future entrepreneurs. We've taken another step towards our journey to get across that start line. Remember, every great business starts with a single idea and the courage to pursue it. You've already shown that courage by joining us here today. As we wrap up this episode of The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, I want to remind you that the start line isn't as far away as you might think. With each bit of knowledge you gain, each fear you face, you're getting closer to launching your dream. Until our next episode together, keep pushing, keep dreaming, and most importantly, keep taking those steps across the start line. They'll all add up to big strides in your entrepreneur adventure. This is Scoob, your guide across the start line. Remember, your future is waiting. I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. Do you find yourself faltering when speaking in public? You definitely know what you're talking about, but you just can't seem to get over the horrific fear, and imagining people in their underwear is just not working. Whether you're gearing up for a big presentation or just looking to improve your daily communications, Leslie Fiorenzo is your go-to resource for mastering self-promotion, facing your audience fearlessly, and communicating with authority. Don't miss out on your opportunity to elevate your game. Contact Leslie Fiorenzo now, or go to tuepodcast.net/speak to step into the spotlight with confidence. Your adventure in public speaking mastery starts here and now. Don't wait to get your voice heard. Book your free consultation at tuepodcast.net/speak to start your adventure in speaking excellence today.